Well, I hope everyone in Texas got all the water out of everywhere. After the last 2 days of weather, the Indycar season is complete, and Formula One might as well be complete. Good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. This is the Extra Mile for today, October 29, 2020. Darryl Kinsey Jr., Michael Ward with you. Michael, say hello.
How's it going?
And we are here to talk about everything that went down this week, including that Portuguese Grand Prix, which was a lot more fun than we thought it was going to be, even though the winner was predictable. That race that never ended in Texas, and of course the end of the IndyCar season in St. Petersburg, which started out droll and then ended anything but. That is how things are. But before we go into that, of course, I'm going to ask Michael, how was your week, dude?
It was really good. Really quiet. I've been mostly doing some CCNA training. So it's been kind of dull, but it's been kind of, informative lately.
And what is CCNA training?
It's Cisco networking, routing, and switching.
Ah, okay. So tech stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had a pretty good week other than, dealing with the races and, of course, grad school. I am now completely obsessed by the Owl House on Disney. Thank you to my girlfriend for getting me obsessed with that show. It's really good. A lot of progressive things going on there that we are not going to get into tonight because we want to talk about racing. And if you get me started on that show, I'm not going to shut up.
One thing.
Mm-hmm.
I tuned into your live stream on it was like boat racing or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Saturday Night Hydroplanes.
Yeah, I was watching that for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is that about? I've never seen it. It's like boat drag racing.
Well, it's actually circle track racing. It's the digital version of the H1 Unlimited Hydroplane series, the actual series that was been around for decades now. They did not have a 2020 season on the actual water due to, COVID, yeah. But they are doing digital season. They had an E-League for the official series over the summer, and now during the winter, we get to run the Division 1 and Division 2 of Saturday Night Hydros. That was Rooster Tail Talk presents Saturday Night Hydroplane League Division 1. The Bucket List Racing presents the Gunnersville Hydro Fest, which tomorrow I'm actually doing recordings for the final heat. And I'm not going to spoil what happened in that. You're going to have to watch the video when it's finished. But it was a lot of fun to call that heat live. I don't know if you stayed around for the final, but go to twitch.tv/Tornado Dash. You're going to absolutely love what you hear there. And, of course, when we put up the video and I do the re-record here tomorrow, and we get that video up sometime later this week. And, of course, before we continue, I have to thank our sponsor, another app company. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, of course, is sponsored by another app company with great apps like Me, the BS Meter. I definitely need that for what's coming up next week. Facefly and more. Another app company starts by building apps they love and sharing them with the world. Find out online at anotherappcompany.com and find all of their great products on the Google Play Store and coming soon to the Apple App Store. Thank you so much to another app company for sponsoring IE Sports Radio. So, with our business obligations complete, let us begin. We will start with the Portuguese Grand Prix, which, Michael, what I will say is it was an interesting start, but a predictable finish.
Honestly, yeah. Hamilton came through and got his 92nd win, not equaling, but gradering. Missing a word here, but anyway.
Exceeding Michael Schumacher's record.
Exceeding Michael Schumacher's record. Will he get to 100? Probably. But
how many races are left this season? Hold on. He might get it before we end. I'm not kidding about that either.
No, I actually believe you.
Okay, so there are not enough events for him to get it this year because we're at 5 to go.
Oh, okay. Well, next year he'll get it because I don't see him retiring next year. But yeah. Predictable race finish. Bottas had a challenge in the beginning. Keyword had. Don't know where that always goes. It's like he challenges and then he just kind of stops. He's like that kid who talks back to his mother, and then his mother like says one thing, and then he goes to his room. And yeah, just predictable finish, but the track is awesome. It is so fun to watch these cars.
It is a really good track. Michael, you still there? Oh, I think we've lost Michael, but it is a really good track. There's a lot of good turns and elevation changes that make this track a lot of fun to drive. And hopefully when we get Michael back, we will be able to continue that conversation. But it's a lot of fun going to Portugal. I love the circuit, and a lot of people had a lot to say when Carlos Sainz jumped up there early and got the lead. And everyone thought, oh, maybe Mercedes is going to be dethroned. Then they got the heat in the tires, and I was like, no, that is not going to happen. So Hamilton ends up picking up the win yet again. Bottas second, Verstappen third again. Kind of a running theme of how the season has gone. I think Michael is back. Michael, we got you?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Something weird happened. But yeah, it was a predictable finish, and the track is great. You know, watching the guys go up the hill, down the hill, and then up and then swing the hill. And you know, Lando Norris was just like, you know, it feels like I'm going in a roller coaster. And, you know, Carlos Sainz was like, I feel like I'm doing Tokyo drifting at this track. And I think the drivers and us as spectators really enjoy this track. And Darryl, I'm going to say here, I think they should come back next year.
Definitely. Although I don't know what the 2021 contracts look like. Definitely in the future, they need to find a place for the Portuguese Grand Prix. They're currently setting up for 23 races next season. How many actually run with, you know, COVID? We'll see. Right. But it's 23 race season next year. Hopefully it'll be a lot better. As Davidson Crooks just joined us in the channel, and Taryn Rodriguez just joined us as well. Taryn actually said, what do you all think of Lewis Hamilton winning, and how would you be able to define Hamilton's career? Well, he's the new greatest of all time. That's all you can really say about his career. I don't care what all the old fuddy-duddies have been saying about Michael Schumacher, because it really feels like Hamilton is getting slighted by the older generation because of who they saw when they were kicking around, and don't even get me started on the other stuff. But Hamilton is the new greatest of all time, and he will be once he equals this record here in a couple of races and when he exceeds it next year, because we all know he's going to win the championship in 2021.
Yeah, he's going to get to 100 wins next year, too.
Yep.
Now, that's a record I
wins.
don't know if anyone can get.
No. I think if he gets over, he's going to get over 100. I don't know where that number is going to stop next season, because it really feels like he is winding down his career. He's talked about, you know, he doesn't know how much further he's going to go after next season because he's got a contract for next year. Hasn't really committed to a longer deal, because usually does 3-year deals. Hasn't committed to that yet. So we are in the final days of the Lewis Hamilton career. And looking back at it 5-10 years down the road, we are not going to believe some of the stuff he was doing in these cars.
Honestly, you know, I think at some point I'm going to get like a Lewis Hamilton poster, or maybe like a Lewis Hamilton replica helmet. Mm-hmm. Just because he has just been such a phenomenal driver in, you know, my time watching F1.
So Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen were your top three. Charles Leclerc. Yep, I know, right? Charles Leclerc actually pulled the Ferrari up to do things, and he ended up finishing fourth. Those were your only cars on the lead lap. Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel file out the point scorers, We only had one car not finish the event. That was Lance Stroll. He retired the car 51 laps into the event, unfortunately, which started a lot of the, Stroll's not that good, and his daddy's money. Shut up. Just shut up.
Please.
But there was a lot of talk about what Carlos Sainz did at the beginning of that race when he jumped up to the lead, and everyone thought that all of a sudden it was going to be a coming out party for McLaren, and then the tires came in for the Mercedes and killed that dead. But it was fun for a little while to see somebody that was not the Mercedes leading. That was nice.
Or Ferrari. It was nice.
Well, I wouldn't put Ferrari up there because Lord knows Ferrari hasn't led much this year.
I don't think they led at all.
I don't think they have either, unless it's on a pit stop exchange. Even then, I don't think they've been high enough with all the issues they've been through. But
yeah.
And
okay.
Another question from T in the chat. Do you think the new generation millennials of F1 fans forgot about Lewis Hamilton being the GOAT since they haven't been around for all of Hamilton's wins, like the new millennials put LeBron James as the GOAT over Michael Jordan? I think for most F1 fans, they would call him the GOAT, especially the young ones now, because all they've seen is Lewis Hamilton. Honestly, I don't think this domination is the same as Schumacher. It definitely hasn't been as... Definitely, I think this has been a more pronounced domination than the Schumacher era. It's been a lot longer than that era was because eventually Renault caught up to them. While Mercedes, they got challenged by Ferrari for a couple of years, but Ferrari kept falling apart, and then Ferrari decided to cheat. Mercedes made a Ferrari beater, which we didn't realize was going to be a cheated Ferrari, and now the field's getting absolutely destroyed. So...
For me, I think if anybody ever tells me like what's so great about Hamilton, his car is good, I would immediately tell them to go back and watch some of the older races where he was with McLaren. Those races were that's Lewis Hamilton. This is kind of Lewis Hamilton. This is kind of Lewis Hamilton just relaxing. The Lewis Hamilton at McLaren is the one where, that was my favorite driver. Because he actually had to work for a lot of his wins.
Yep. And I hope that, honestly, if McLaren had been a little bit better during his time there, he would have had more than one championship. I think a lot of it gets clouded because he only won the one title at McLaren before they started on the long decline to where they went, and now they've slowly climbed back up. But
in my opinion, they would have had the 2012 title if they didn't mess up the pit stops, and then that 2012 was also the year that Hamilton would get the lead, and then his engine blows up.
Yeah, they didn't have the best reliability in 2012, and not to mention he almost won it in his rookie season until he got beached at China.
Yeah,
and that ended that. Who knows where he would be, but Hamilton was a lot better at McLaren than people give him credit for because he only got the one championship. But he is what we're seeing now is what he always had the capability of doing while he was at McLaren, and it's just being recognized while he's at Mercedes proper.
Yeah. Also, he had a teammate. He also had a teammate that, let's be honest, was really much more willing to fight with him than Bottas was.
Look, if y'all thought Rosberg and Hamilton was bad, the Hamilton and Alonso feud got so bad, the FIA actually had to get involved after Turkey because there was an issue with the pit stops, and it was ugly. It was really ugly.
Not just Hamilton and Alonso. Hamilton and Button put up some good fights, too.
Yeah. Actually, Hamilton and Button, I think, is what I'm thinking about towards...
Turkey? No, that was definitely Alonso.
Okay, so I was right the first time. Yeah, in qualifying when Hamilton and Alonso just sits there in front of Hamilton and slows him up so he can't do his lap. And
that when that happened, that was when I go back in history. I watched a lot of the F1 races, like a lot of the old ones, back in high school. And when I saw that happened, I hated Alonso.
He lost a lot of respect from a lot of people after that.
And like I couldn't respect him after that. Like when I watched the 2010 finale, I was cheering when he couldn't get past Petrov.
I think we all were, to be honest.
Because at that point, like I did not like this guy, and the way I even didn't like the way he overtook. Like he always seemed like he squeezed people off the track and everything like that. Like I just did not like Alonso. Nowadays, I do like Alonso. He's a really good driver, and I just gotta acknowledge that. But back then, I did not like Alonso.
So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue the F1 conversation because we got to talk about Red Bull and their driver development program, or the lack thereof at this point, with the most recent news about what may happen if Alex Albon ends up getting demoted from the team. But we'll be right back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You gotta check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Rate, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Darryl and Michael here with Christopher today, as of course, as he said last week, it is harvest season there in grain country, and it's hitting hard. So he's unfortunately taking a little bit of a break, which is fine because he needs it, definitely, because he was at work, I think, for 15 hours yesterday alone. So, Christopher, if you're listening, hope you're doing well, man, and thank you to everyone out there for what they do to keep us fed, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. That is not really lifting up at all, is it? Well, Let us continue here with our Formula One discussion. We were talking about this before the break, and I definitely thought it should be part of the actual podcast tonight. Red Bull Racing, the team that supposedly has this great wealth of talent with the Red Bull Driver Development Program, is probably on par with TRD here in America when it comes to chewing up and spitting out talent, unfortunately. As there is a long list of talents in NASCAR that have come through TRD. Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones most recently, that have gotten to JGR, not done well in the JGR fourth car, and have ended up at other teams. A couple of those kind of going off to do, one of those going off to do better things in Joey Logano. Daniel Suarez, unfortunately, went straight down the order, and unfortunately, and Eric Jones is also going down the order to a midfield team at Petty next season, so who knows what they're going to do. It feels like these the TRD Talent Factory, there's a lot of people, but they don't have a lot of seats to put people. So it doesn't allow them a lot of time to allow drivers to develop. And when those drivers don't develop as quickly as they need to, beside 3 established championship-level veterans in Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and, of course, Kyle Busch, they kind of get tossed out the window. So a lot of guys are getting the JGR, barely getting through their first contract, and like, oh, you're not actually that good. Bye. And really the only one that's been able to, have a semblance of a career has been Joey Logano. Same situation is going on with the Red Bull Racing Talent Development Program as they train drivers up there at Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri. They bring them up to the Red Bull team. They don't get a lot of chance to develop next to Max Verstappen now. And then it's like, actually, you suck. Go back to AlphaTauri. And they bring the next one up to complete the cycle. And Michael, you know better than I that there is a laundry list of drivers that have gone through the Red Bull Racing system only to get washed out in a short amount of time.
Jaime Alguersuari. Sebastian Bourdais.
Did not
Scott
get a chance.
Speed.
Did not get a chance. And that was back when Red Bull
Sebastian
was meh.
Buemi. Carlos Sainz. Well, Carlos Sainz went off to do his own thing.
Yeah.
And now Pierre Gasly.
Don't forget Brendan Hartley.
Brandon Hartley.
Daniel Kvyat.
Kvyat. Mark Webber doesn't count because Mark Webber was actually able to do something.
Mark Webber actually fought back, and it was ugly during that time.
Yeah, Turkey 2010 ugly. And there's a long list of that's only the surface of the Red Bull development program. They've seen a lot of drivers come and go or just leave them altogether. So this is a long list. This has been happening for years.
It really
like
has.
You would think they would be successful after Vettel. No, this has gone on before Vettel. Like Vettel was one of the drivers this benefited, and if I can say one thing about the Red Bull development program, it benefits one driver and destroys another. Mm-hmm. And just recently I found out that Pierre Gasly, Christian Horner is keeping Pierre Gasly at AlphaTauri. Mm-hmm. And when I found that out, I actually was happy for Gasly to stay there because Red Bull, like me and Darryl talked about before, they have a habit of killing talent. And for Gasly, I think it would be best if he stayed at AlphaTauri and never go to Red Bull, because Red Bull is only concerned about one person, and that's Verstappen.
And it's public. And we're just not saying that. It's very public that Helmut Marko is all in on Max Verstappen, and that team is dedicated to Max Verstappen and only Max Verstappen winning the championship. And as we talked about, the car is set up based on Max Verstappen's, on his driving style. So you have a driver in the other car like Pierre Gasly when he was up there, and then Alexander Albon. They're trying to give input on how to make the car better, and they're just not being listened to at all.
Matter of fact, if you go onto the race YouTube channel, they talk about Pierre Gasly's relationship with Red Bull, and at one point, Pierre Gasly goes and says, "Hey, I think I need the car to do this in the corners, or I think I need the car to do this in the straights." And they were just like, "Well, you're looking at certain places of the car and of the car as a whole." And it's just he's telling you what he needs. He's not constructing you on your setup. He's just saying, "Hey, I need this, I need that," and they just wouldn't listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a problem, by the way, when a driver is giving you feedback and you're blowing him off. Like, I feel real a part of this team now if that's how I'm being treated when I'm telling you guys, hey, this is how we make the car better.
Yeah, and they just weren't listening to him. And, like I said, his performance is also due to the pressure he gets from, Helmut Marko and the team to do well. And it's also pressure from his teammate, who is, of course, Max Verstappen. When you have a teammate that's that good and you're told, hey, go out on a track every weekend and beat this guy, it's difficult. It's hard. It's tiring. And all that pressure, believe it or not, mentality does play a factor in why drivers don't do well. And, Pierre's just been going out there trying to do his best and not being able to do it because he's got a lot of pressure. His team won't listen to him. He's put up against a driver that's the team is backing, and he's just being told, hey, I don't really care about what you think or how good you're doing. I want you to go out there and win championships.
Mm-hmm.
And, how can you win with that?
You can't. And the problem is, looking at it, you need two drivers, even if they're not equal, you need two drivers actively engaged with the team to be successful. Look at Mercedes. Yes, Bottas is the clear number 2, mainly because the few times that Bottas has had to reach up there and snatch away momentum in this championship, he hasn't been able to do it. Bottas is a clear number 2, but I doubt we would hear that race transmission that Michael just talked about from Bottas to Mercedes, where Bottas is telling them something about the car and Mercedes isn't listening. Like, they're going to take that under advisement and add it to what Hamilton says to make sure that the car is working for both drivers. It obviously has, as both drivers have been lightning quick in it. When you only focus on one driver and one driver's ability only in the car, you get a Red Bull situation where Max is challenging. Well, challenging is a strong word.
He's just kind of up there leading.
He's kind of there if something happens to the Mercedes to get the win, while Alexander Albon's fighting in the mid-pack. That is a car that is not balanced for both drivers' abilities. I think we can both say that.
It's not, and I think I don't think Albon's gonna be in that seat next year, Darryl. They're already looking. They've already gone and said that, like, if Albon isn't gonna do well, which he's not, they're gonna be looking for outside of the drivers' academy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's strange because they haven't had to do this in years. They haven't had to do this since ever. But recently, it's going to be strange seeing a non-Red Bull Academy driver in Red Bull. It's just strange. And I think that when Albon leaves Red Bull, because it's gonna happen. They're gonna ask him, and I think he's gonna go to AlphaTauri or another team, and I think he's gonna be happier there.
And if you're a driver in the Red Bull development program, do you really want to go to that team right now with how it's set up? Because you're basically being pushed up to basically fill a seat and then get punted out when you're not given the chance to succeed. So if you're in that program, do you really want to go up to Red Bull and be in this situation?
No, and it's clear they want another Bottas.
Mm-hmm.
But the drivers there don't want to be Bottas.
No.
They really don't. They want to compete and win championships. They don't want to be a Bottas. You know? I don't want to be if I was racing in F1, I don't want to be a Bottas. Darryl wouldn't want to be a Bottas. Hell, I'm sure Bottas doesn't want to be a Bottas.
Well, the problem with Bottas is more of an ability thing than...
Yeah.
And the problem is Bottas, the guy in the other seat, is the greatest of all time. I mean, the qualifying lap Hamilton pulled out of his butt after 3 attempts in Portugal, that's got to be demoralizing. Because Bottas threw everything he had, and Hamilton still beat him.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, that's not... The team is not backing you. That's just this guy's just really, really good, dude.
Honestly, like, if it's one thing I appreciate about NASCAR drivers back then is that there were times they just admitted, yeah, the guy was just faster than me.
Yep.
And, that's sometimes in F1, you actually have a moment where it's just like, yeah, he's just faster than me. Like, I can't do anything.
Yep.
And that's what's happening at Mercedes, and it's working. If Bottas can get the win, then yeah, he has a win. But right now, it's just not working out. But Darryl, Red Bull, according to the rumors, is thinking about grabbing Sergio Perez.
Why would Perez want to come back here?
I don't think Perez ever.
Oh no, Perez hasn't been there. Sorry, I'm thinking of Sainz. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they want Sergio Perez or Nico Hülkenberg, apparently.
Okay, can we get over the Hülkenberg thing? Like,
please.
Hülkenberg is not that good, y'all. I promise you, he's not that good. Like,
he's a good driver. It's just he's not that good.
Y'all are sizing him because he came in and did some spot starts and then threw up over himself. He's an F1 driver, still the active super license. I expect him to be that good if he gets called in on a relief appearance.
Yeah.
He's not that good. I promise you he's not that good.
Yeah. I mean, they want... That's the rumor. I don't think it's going to happen because I think Perez is just kind of out of sync. Matter of fact, I'm surprised he didn't just retire when he got axed from Aston Martin, because he's been in the sport for a long time, and the only thing he has to his title is King of the Midfield, which he doesn't like. So,
well, I mean, he never got a chance in one of the championship winning cars, so you really can't blame him. And people try to say that that's a knock on him. This is a thing when talking about drivers in Formula One. It is 70% car in this sport that's going to determine your lot in, your lot in life in Formula One. And that's not to take away from anyone's success or failure, because at the end of the day, of course, you still have to be able to drive it. But the people, and it's good that you brought this up, the people that have now turned on George Russell and talking about Russell is not that good.
Oh, man, I'm glad you brought that up.
Are you drunk?
Possibly.
Are you... The Williams has been the slowest car on the grid ever since Russell has been there. And they have continued to be the slowest car on the grid because they don't have the money to develop the team any further than what they are now. And also, he's had some bad luck this year, and that's why he hasn't scored points in the few times we've had wild races.
And also, he goes up there every weekend with a smile on his face, ready to go and drive in Formula One. And you know what he does? He goes out there and he beats Haas and Alfa Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, those teams have points compared to him. He doesn't have points, but he beats them on the racetrack. He manages to somehow get that boat of a car in Q2, and you guys are like, hey, replace this man with Perez. And I'm just like, why? Why?
I mean, are they doing a seat swap? Because I'm pretty sure Russell would love to get up there in the Aston Martin next season. Like,
I'm pretty sure he would love to too. This is the driver, whether you guys believe it or not. This is Hamilton's replacement.
Yeah, he is the heir apparent to the 44, or it'll end up being the 63
heir
when
to
he
the
moves
Mercedes
up.
number 1 seat.
Yeah,
that's him.
That's why he's chilling at Williams and not moving anywhere. Once Hamilton retires, which will probably be next season, I think, because Hamilton's already said, he doesn't really want to go any further if the schedule starts getting up towards 25 races, which it is, unfortunately. And he's, doing the extreme E thing, and he's getting more into saving the environment. Hamilton's about to leave. And that seat's going to come open. And Russell's going to go from riding in the backfield to a championship contending car. Why would he want to go anywhere else right now? Just bide your time at Williams.
That's what he's doing. He's just chilling there, doing what he can, and then when he goes out there and does stuff like getting the car in a Q2. If he can get that car in a Q2, just imagine what he can do in a Mercedes.
Yeah, if he can drag a Williams up there, he's going to be amazing.
And also, Ocon had his chance. He had his chance. But, the laws of F1 happened.
Yep.
And, he decided to go to Renault. So, he still has that connection, yes, but he kind of messed up that chance. George Russell, he's just chilling at the back, occasionally doing well. Yeah, he would love to compete, overtake, do all of this. Yeah, that would be great for him. But he's just they're gaining experience. And so I think Russell is going to be the inheritor of that seat. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Yes.
And, they talk about, if Hamilton leaves, they're going to get Max Verstappen. Red Bull is going to keep Verstappen on a leash.
Who is saying that Verstappen's going to go to Mercedes?
Oh, bro. There are so many people on
and Facebook. I know we've gotten off topic.
Verstappen is going to go to Mercedes when he leaves.
And I want to come back and say, I don't want to cut you off here, but I know we've gotten off topic. We are going to get back to what we were talking about with Red Bull and their situation, but I'm fascinated by this because we kind of trailed off here. But why would Verstappen leave to go to Mercedes?
Because it's the faster car, apparently, and I'm just like, it's not going to be the faster car forever.
Yeah. Well, God only knows.
God only knows. Hopefully 2022 proves that wrong, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, and also Red Bull has that man on a leash. They will give him a ton of money to stay there. And sometimes money, honestly, is the mediator between teams. If you give a guy a lot of money, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Even though that money situation is going to change due to the salary cap that is apparently coming, where it's $30 million between the two drivers. Yeah, that's going to be fun. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah, that's going to be fun. And also, what else? There's something else interesting that's happening at Red Bull. Oh yeah, Honda's leaving.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out engines right now because they don't want to go back to Mercedes, Ferrari, and they dang sure don't want to go back to Renault.
You know something funny that I saw about that on Twitter?
Oh, I want that to happen so badly, by the way. You have no idea how badly I want Christian Horner having to crawl back to Cyril Abiteboul and Renault after all that crap.
That's literally the meme. It's like an iPhone. It's like an iPhone chat, and Christian Horner's just like, "Hey, Been a while.
After all that crap in Drive to Survive Season 1, if he has to go back to Renault, because the rule is they have to use Renault because they're the only ones really with the free slots, that's going to be funny. That's going to be real funny.
When that announcement happened, Darryl, I'm surprised you didn't see all this. There were so many memes.
I didn't see a lot of them. I don't know how I didn't. And I would have been all over that.
There were so many memes of just like when your ex comes back.
Oh my goodness. And that's the reason why they're talking about, you know, either freeze the engines or we leave. And because they do not want to have to go back to Renault and deal with that situation. Because that bridge was not burned. It was napalmed. And that's just going to be ugly.
Yeah, they're talking, apparently Honda's trying to, like, get them to keep the engines or whatever. But, because the situation is, Honda, it's kind of like Honda wants to go the more electronic route, like the rest of the world's trying to do.
Yes.
And they're, you know, one of their first acts in doing this was to pull out of F1. And it's kind of sad because they just started. But yeah, they want to leave F1. Honda apparently wants to try to continue to help Red Bull in their goal, but I don't know how that's going to work. Are you just going to leave them engines? Because...
Well, what they want to do is leave Red Bull the engines so they can continue to develop them.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen, but what also might happen is they might have to go and, you know, actually slide into Cyril's DMs or... call up good old Cosworth again.
I'm just imagining like 2 a.m. Cyril for some reason is like on Twitter and all of a sudden there's a DM from Christian Horner like, you up? Like that is now stuck in my head and it's never
imagine
coming
your
out.
ex randomly texting you. That's Cyril's reaction.
We got to take a break here. We just ran through our break, but how does Red Bull fix this situation if they can?
I don't know. You tell me. You played the My Team mode in F1 2020. You tell me how to fix this.
I don't know. I really don't. But that is a situation Helmut Marko and everyone over there at Red Bull is going to have to figure out. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the race in Texas that never ended. And if we get enough time, we will also talk about the IndyCar finale in St. Petersburg here in the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, I'm Brian McLaughlin. In the National Football League, there are approximately 17 million total fans.
I'm Andrew Guzman. My Dallas Cowboys make up almost 9 million of those fans.
And my Seahawks have a very loyal fan base of around 4 million.
That's more than 3/4 of all the fans.
That's absolutely correct, Andrew. And on the Common Ground Football Podcast, we'll be talking about the good, bad, and the ugly of these teams.
We'll have weekly picks, discuss transactions, injuries.
And we'll chat about the rest of the league, too.
Blake freaking Bortles?
Oh, yes. And Captain Andrew Luck.
Excellent. What about Fitzmagic?
Oh, let's not get carried away now.
Oh, all right then.
Join us each week at commongroundfootballpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast.
It's going to be
awesome.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here with the final segment here on the Extra Mile iSports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to wrap IndyCar and NASCAR into one here. We're actually going to start real quick with IndyCar. St. Petersburg Grand Prix, which started out really, like a standard St. Petersburg race, and then we had a caution on lap 42, and then all heck breaks loose. There's a couple things I want to talk about with you, Michael. First, the microcosm of Alexander Rossi's season, where he leads 61 laps of that race and then spins out of the lead, just gets his tires like an inch out of the groove out of turn 3 and puts it in the wall. How glad is that guy that the 2020 season is over?
Yeah, it's not been a good year for him. It's been a year where he's gotten in front and then just something happens, and I'm pretty sure he's just glad the year's over with, to be honest with you.
Pretty sure. I know the drivers keep all their fire suits from, their different seasons. I don't think he's going to keep this one. I'm pretty sure he's going to burn it. And yes, I know it's a fire-resistant suit, but it's not permanent. You can still burn the suits if the fire's hot enough. And he will find a way, because this season was absolutely horrible for him.
Wait, they can keep it?
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Right, just imagine all the times they've peed in that thing.
Oh, goodness. Can we not? And they wouldn't have peed in it. More than likely, they would have sweated it out because it's so hot, You just sweat all the moisture out of your body.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the time in NASCAR where, Kurt Busch is just like, man, I gotta pee.
Why did he say that on an open mic, by the way?
I don't know, but he's just like, man, I gotta pee. And the guy's just like, you might want to go in your fire suit, and he's just like,
NASCAR drivers say the weirdest things when they key up on the radio.
I swear, it's funny.
And T just came in the chat. I actually asked a good question. Do we think that IndyCar did a great job with COVID? I think they did an excellent job dealing with COVID-19.
I agree. They did a really good job dealing with COVID. A lot of these motorsports did a fantastic job dealing with COVID.
And that's what I was actually going to take it to. Motorsports in general did an excellent job dealing with COVID-19. And it is a much more difficult situation for motorsports than it is stick and ball sports, because for their sport to work, they kind of have to travel, and they just created like a moving bubble. And outside of a couple drivers getting minor COVID-19 cases, they didn't have any real issues like what we're seeing in the NFL or what happened with the MLB when they came back, or college football, what's going on down there. So I really tip my hat to everyone in the motorsports industry, especially IndyCar, for keeping everything clean and making sure that we can get to this point where we're actually talking about championships being crowned.
Yeah, they've all done a great job, and I wish this stuff was ending next year. Might not end next year, but hopefully they can stick it out for another year and get us some good racing, because hopefully all this is over. That's all I'm gonna say, is because I need my racing.
And hey, Christopher's in the chat. I know he's not on tonight. He's resting after the long day, couple of days he's put in work, but he said that Scott McLaughlin wrecked at St. Pete. That was the first start for Scott McLaughlin in IndyCar. That race was not representative of his ability, because in the first practice, he was 10th in his first time ever in the car. So he's going to be really good in these. I would not be concerned if I'm a Scott McLaughlin fan. He's going to have a great 2021 with a full off-season program that he's going to have now. He just did testing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, was in awe. It's going to be really fun seeing the Aussie rip it up in IndyCar next season.
And yeah, IndyCar next season is going to be fun. And also, Jimmy Johnson's going to be there.
Yep. And a quick question before we get to NASCAR. Scott Dixon wins his 6th title. Everyone is starting to talk about now, is he the GOAT? Is he the GOAT? It's difficult in Indy because do you weigh Indy 500s more than you do championships? Are they equal? Are the championships a little bit higher than Indy 500s? I think for this generation, he's the GOAT, but historically, it's much more complicated. And that's what I would say about that.
Doesn't he have both Indy 500 and championship wins?
He's got one, but now he's got 6 championships.
He's the GOAT, honestly.
Yep.
In my opinion, he is. If you want to go by, I guess, if you want to go by Indy, I guess Helio would be the GOAT in my opinion, but that's just me.
And as we go into now NASCAR, and this was a race in Texas that would really, I don't know if I would say it wouldn't start or it wouldn't end, because they got 50 laps in on Sunday, and then the rains came in for
then the start of the 48 hours of Texas.
72 hours that race was red flagged.
Texas.
Took us 3 days, finally got that race in on Wednesday, and look, we will save you the conversation because we got 8 minutes left. They got a lot of work they need to do for the mile-and-a-half program, the next-gen car. That race was not good. It was not good.
It was good for Kyle Busch, but it wasn't good to watch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch finally breaks that winless streak and continues 16 straight seasons with a win, including his rookie season, obviously. But yeah, we got to fix the mile-and-a-half program. And we go into Martinsville, where everyone below the cut line has to win, which is going to make it a bit more exciting, but it also makes it kind of anticlimactic unless something happens to one of the guys in the top 4 before stage 1 ends. Because if we don't get a Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano moment, it's really not going to matter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And hopefully we don't get a Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano moment, because that was kind of messed up. But, yeah.
We're going to get one in the trucks because Ben Rhodes pissed off about half the field because he destroyed, like, everybody. Like, he turned around Christian Eckes, and then allegedly Chandler Smith got into him when he took out the 0-0 for Ream, which I don't believe that, but who knows. Going to be a fun Saturday, or a fun Friday night for the trucks. We'll see if there's any payback, because if there is, there's going to be some fighting.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that being said, we got a little bit of time here. We're actually going to go ahead and do nearest the win. The current point standings, I'm getting real close to that championship, as I got 5 points over Matt White, 38-33, Collins 31, Matt Owens 30, Seth 27, Michael, you're sitting at 21, Chris on 11, and then Lita, Larry B, and Caitlin sitting at 7, 5, and 5. And I also got Christopher's points on here as well. Christopher's taking Martin Truex Jr. for Martinsville. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. I think Elliott wins his way in. Michael, who are you going to take?
I'm going to take Denny Hamlin. This has been a great track for him, so I think he's going to get it done.
And Formula One, are we just going to say, I guess, flip-flop? If you had Hamilton, just go Bottas?
I'm kind of just willing to do joke picks.
Well, Michael, you have Verstappen, so you can pick whoever.
I guess I'll go on Hamilton this one time just to get an extra point. But I said, I really don't enjoy this whole pick Hamilton one week, pick Hamilton another week, not pick Hamilton, and then the next week you pick Bottas, and then you get to pick Hamilton again. It's just not fun in my opinion.
Yeah, Chris is also going to take. He's going to flip to Bottas. You know what? I kind of need the points, so I don't want to do that yet. So I'm just going to flip to Bottas as well. We need some parity in Formula One.
Honestly.
We really do.
Yeah.
And after NASCAR, bonus points for who we picked to get to the championship 4 will be doled out. So we will see how that goes after Martinsville. Yep. And T wants to also play nearest the win as well. We will definitely remind him of that. But it is time for us to get out of here for this show. And I'm going to remind you to check out our sponsor, another app company. They create a whole bunch of awesome apps, including Me, the BS Maker, Facefly, and more. Another app company. They build apps they love and share them with the world. Check them out online at anotherappcompany.com and get their apps on Android in the Google Play Store and soon in the Apple App Store as well. It's another app company, a fine sponsor here of IE Sports Radio. And of course, keep it locked to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages as well as the website, iesportsradio.com. If you like hearing me ramble about racing, and I know you do, check it out on Tuesday. Or check me out on Tuesday, 2 Wide Tuesday. Getting to the last couple of episodes of the show for this season. Did not have a program this past Tuesday due to, well, the race that never ended, which was Texas. So we will be back for the final 2 episodes starting on Election Day next week. I'm going to need a distraction because that day's not going to be fun. And, of course, if you want to talk to Michael or myself, Michael's at Michael_War25. I'm at DKJr12. Christopher, who is in the chat, is at Fiji Sims. Check us out on the Twitter. With that being said, this has been The Extra Mile for Michael. I'm Darryl, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.